afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. My name is Marta Nogueras. I'm the Managing Director of Lanzadera. We are a leading startup accelerator in Europe, and we are based in Valencia, Spain. For me, it's a very special conversation today because as Valencia itself, Valencia was a city never known about 10 years ago, and now it's a city that attracts international talent, corporations, startups, of course, and investors. So I think that it's very important to have this panel with you and to talk about this broader European shift, because right now, things are changing, and you don't need to create your startup. If you want to be a great European scale-up, you don't need to begin your project in Berlin, London, or Paris, because there are many territories that can offer other advantages, other facilities. They are probably more open to other kind of talent, more open to bring more facilities to achieve the decision makers, of course, and other kind of facilities that I think that things are changing, and we want to explore this kind of mindset, exploring new territories that are doing things well and supporting entrepreneurship in Europe. So for me, it's very interesting to let me introduce you our speakers. On my left hand, it's Eva Zainiero, is Senior Officer of Canary Island Special Zone. Diego Sampaio, co-founder of GlobalFi, and Natalia Cortina, Head of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Fundación Repsol. So thank you so much for being here. We will explore how to build a thriving innovation ecosystem from the ground up. First, I want to mention that the traditional hubs as Lisbon, Paris, or London have density, capital, and of course visibility. But other kind of territories, and this way is what we want to talk about, is stronger community, more access to decision makers, more affordable talent. It's very important, this thing, and probably more collaborative culture. I think that there are several things that we need to explore during our panel. So I'd like to start having an open question for you, because how many of you are entrepreneurs? Many of you. Okay, so I think that the question is changing. First is, can you really build an ambitious startups from here? And now it's, what kind of company do you want to build? And this is what the territory offers to you. So I think that as the entrepreneurs are more demanding, they are focusing on what a territory brings to the entrepreneurs. And in my experience in Lanzadera is something that we are seeing, because entrepreneurs are more mature, have more professional background, and they, of course, are more demanding, but I think that it's a very important connection to the kind of what the territories have to offer to them. So first, Canary Island, Eva, very interesting, because I know that you are exploring how to position Canary Island in European startup ecosystem. So Eva, we know that you offer tax incentives, but what do startups and scale-ups find in Canary Island, and you offer them to grow?
Well, basically, in my opinion, tax incentives, obviously, they help to attract or to bring attraction, but they don't support growth. So basically, from the Canary Islands, we offer to scale-ups and startups a combination of talent, of a real testing ecosystem, and also a strategic position. Coming to the strategical position, everyone knows where the Canary Islands are. You can think you are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, but the real thing is that we are geostrategically hub in the middle of or among 3 continents, which are Africa, Europe, and America. So this is very important, and this really matters to entrepreneurs when they want to operate globally. We are a territory that holds tax incentives, but those incentives are under a domestic and European regulation, and this really matters to entrepreneurs as well, because they feel secure from the legal point of view. Talking about talent, we are not talking only about local talent, which is being created in the Canary Islands, because we have 7 universities and a lot of training centers, but also we are talking about international talent that are choosing the Canaries to relocate because they can have a very high quality of life doing business. And also, it's very important to be in a territory where you can test and scale in a multiple sector ecosystem. We are not only sand and beach, but we give opportunities for many sectors to grow. And I'm not just thinking about technology, but also we are doing very well, for example, in audiovisual or video games or even space. So these combinations make a very good balance for startups and scale-ups that want to operate globally from our territory.
Great, great. And regarding to your topic, I want to explore more. How do you attract this kind of scale-ups and big companies in order to create a long-term relationship with them?
Okay. Well, opportunities move people, but what it really makes them stay is good life, have a good life. So obviously in the Canaries, in our region, we have the basics. We have health, a good health, a security system, okay, because we are part of Spain. We have international schools. We have housing. We have talent, okay. But we also have a boosting ecosystem and a density, as I was mentioning before, as a density ecosystem where the startups and the scale-ups can test and boost their business from moment 0. So basically, we try to retain the talent that is being created in the Canaries with the different universities and programs that we have, but we also try to retain, to make them stay, thanks to the quality of life and all the opportunities that are made to the Canaries.
And that's a very good point, because the challenge is to boost the entrepreneurial and this kind of ecosystem in order to create this kind of long-term relationship.
Basically, we don't want to compete with big ecosystems, but we think we want to become a complementary ecosystem, and we try to focus in verticals in which we have natural advantages, So, and we try to create ecosystems around those verticals.
Thank you, Weva. Very interesting. Okay. Canary Island is a good destination.
Yeah, it is.
I want to change our topic a little bit, Diego, because you have a huge international background, and everybody knows that a startup can almost born anywhere. This kind of global mindset is very important if you want to reach your startup to the sky. But I want to talk about your experience, because probably a founder no longer needs to come to Silicon Valley or to London in order to make their company grow. So trying to understand these emerging ecosystems that we are talking, what do you think are the barriers that the startups can find if they want to still face going global, but being in an emerging ecosystem?
Perfect. Well, I truly believe that the main barrier is actually in terms of mindset. There's nothing else that holds entrepreneurs in expanding their business globally. It's way easier nowadays to incorporate our business anywhere, right? With AI, it's way easier to develop solutions or to find problems and approach a solution through quick methods of developing software. So it's way more towards the mindset of doing that instead of a real barrier that are holding the entrepreneurs. Of course, that when you're starting a business and looking for a larger market, usually than the one that you are right now, there are way more challenges in terms of adapting to culture, payment processors, and so well. But on the other hand, the opportunity the upside, that's the opportunities, it's way bigger, right? So there's way more opportunities for you also. Another key point here is in terms of competition, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs, they avoid or they delay the process of entering into new markets because they are afraid of local competition or of global competition. But the fact is that we are competing right now with everybody anywhere in the world, right? So if you're not thinking about moving ahead, probably one of your competitors are looking for your specific domestic market, and then they're going to attack you. So I truly believe that's way more in terms of creating the mindset, having the knowledge that you can do that, and that's where the ecosystems, the local ecosystems, they are really powerful because they can teach, they can guide, and they can create the partnerships that will allow those local entrepreneurs to expand globally.
Totally, because I think that it's a very good point, this kind of mindset, because first, if you want to go international, the first probably an entrepreneur thing is the legal barriers, the commercial barriers, the operational barriers, and of course the cultural ones. But in fact, we are talking about global companies, no? So I think that the kind of culture and the values of the CEO of these kind of companies is very important to go international or not.
Sure.
So what makes an ecosystem global ready? Trying to understand the case of Canary Island or Valencia or other territories that can have good conditions to create a good startup ecosystem, but probably they are not global ready to achieve this kind of position.
Perfect. Well, again, I think that it comes a lot to mindset. Once again, I said that on the first, but it's actually what helps. What the ecosystems help most entrepreneurs is giving them guidance and sharing knowledge with them, getting other local entrepreneurs that have gone through that phase, that face the challenge of expanding global and they succeed, or they failed and they learn by the failures, and exposing the new entrepreneurs to that knowledge, right? So they understand that they also can do that. It's a challenge, of course, but they can do that. So I think that's a lot in terms of education, guidance, but also with the partnerships. So a local ecosystem is really good in establish important and key partnerships for their local entrepreneurs, right? Not to attract entrepreneurs from abroad, but also to help those entrepreneurs to expand. So I truly believe that it's, again, on mindset, showing success case and also failure case and how you learn from that, but also then connecting them with partners that can guide them or can help them to succeed.
And my final question to you, Diego, is that if you think that geography matters less than 10 years ago, or things are being equal?
Yeah, look, when was the last time that you checked where a software that you've been using was developed? I mean, have you ever checked, oh, this company is from Nigeria. Oh, no, this one's from Spain. I mean, you don't
The
know
origin doesn't matter right now.
You're just looking for someone that solve your problem, right? That can give us the tool to solve your problem. So I don't see how geography can impact. Actually, it impacts in terms of providing opportunities for the local entrepreneurs. It's way more in terms of that than in terms of expansion.
Thank you, Diego. I think that companies today can be born global. It doesn't matter where you were born. It's just this kind of global mindset that it's very important to work with entrepreneurs is that one of the things that in Lanzadera, in our acceleration program, we try to work more on this kind of leadership and this kind of mindset to be ambitious, because probably the company is not the problem, it's not the market size, it's the execution of the CEO, the number one of the company. So very, very interesting your point. Thank you, Diego. Well, Natalia, I want to have with you this point of view more related to corporate innovation. You also have an acceleration program in Fundación Repsol, and we are talking more about the startup role or ecosystem, but you have, as a large corporation, as Repsol is, you have a key role with entrepreneurs today. So I want to understand better what signals make an ecosystem attractive for corporate innovation.
Okay, so when corporations face innovation, it's to solve specific needs of the corporation. So we identify what is a challenge for us, and we try to find solutions for these challenges, both working inside or looking outside. And that's where entrepreneurs and startups play a key role in corporate innovation. But we have to solve very specific problems or challenges. So when we look for innovation, we look for hubs or ecosystems that have very long-term positioning, clear positioning in solving specific terms, and also specialized ecosystems that bring together the knowledge, the talent, and the big players, the key players, to solve the challenges that we are looking for. So we look for specialization, focus, and key players and key talent working together to solve the challenges. If the ecosystem has this signal, it will bring together, or downside, will attract investors, will attract key talent that you were mentioning before, and they will bring solutions that are robust, that are sustainable in the long term, that are key for solving real problems in corporations. Another signal for us of a good ecosystem is that it touches the ground, that is really connected with reality, that is not innovating in theory, but is touching the ground, that it knows the problems, that it works together or brings, how to say, that the ecosystem is built around a strength of the local territory. So there is a strength, there is a good understanding of this market or this industrial context, and this brings a lot of value to the ecosystem, because this opens a lot of opportunities for startup to pilot and to test their technology. But if we gather this with the key players and the connections and the specifications, the pilot will have the support to bring the solution to the market that is valuable for us. And another signal may be that the ecosystem is connected also, that promotes connections, both internally, and this is a good point of local ecosystems. Ecosystems are smaller, ecosystems are more agile, local ecosystems are agile, proximity and the distances closest allow collaborations, informal collaborations or informal partnerships, informal exchanges of knowledges. So a connected system internally is very positive, but also mentioning what Diego mentioned, the local ecosystem, fully specialized, connected to ground, and connected internally, also needs to be part of a larger network. And why say that? Because if you are very well positioned in the long term and everybody knows what you do and what you're specialized in, you have the industrial context to pilot and to bring value to the startups. You have the knowledge, but you also have the internal connections. You have the possibility to bring talent that's missing, to bring investors, but also to support startups in scaling up, because they have to compete globally. Yes. If they really want to solve the problem of a corporation like ours, they have to be competitive at the global scale. And having the ecosystem facilitating this global mindset is also key. So I would say some specialization, focus in connections, and also programs and incentives to facilitate the ecosystem locally. Mm-hmm.
Yes, totally agree with you, Natalia, because I think that this network, and if you have a good conditions in an ecosystem regarding proof of concepts, pilots between large corporations and startups, probably things go faster. And we are seeing in Lanzadera that there's a kind of a snowball effect, that it's, if you have more corporations applying innovation like you probably will have more startups, and it's something that is going to be faster and growing faster. But it's important, this kind of point that you say, that local ecosystems maybe can be more specialized than other big ones. And maybe it's a good point to see this kind of challenge that the territories have to achieve.
It's important to add on what you said, is that if they build on local strengths, and they, I was going to say, if they build on the strengths and the corporations and the startups working in this local ecosystem share the same challenges, there's already a connection and already an incentive to work together, because one needs the other one, and they have a good feed to collaborate and to cooperate. So,
and Natalia, talking about the position of the territory, no, the public administration or other kind of stakeholders in the local ecosystem, what things have to do these territories in order to create more networking between large corporations and startups? What do you think about it?
As I say, to implement all the signals I was mentioning before, it's from the startup point of view, they have to be, the local territory has to be attractive, because as you mentioned before, the startups born wherever, but the ecosystem needs to attract the good startups, the high potential ones, to meet the challenges of the corporations, of the local industry that can work together. So I would say they need to be attractive and to have programs and incentives to attract high potential startups, and not only to attract, but to support them structurally or with a long-term view. And on the other side, I would say corporations, to be involved in this, they need some kind of trust, or to be involved, this innovation has to be robust, serious. There has to be a platform of innovation with a structural infrastructure, not punctual, but to have some structural innovation where to rely on. And the programs like the ones Canary Islands is supporting are key to facilitate both the involvement in the corporation and to offer pilots and the opportunities to open opportunities for the startups. Two very important point is to facilitate processes and to simplify things and to shorten procedures. Sometimes this is very it's a key for innovation. And now things go very, very quickly in innovation, and long processes make the hub lose competitivity. And what else? And finally, to bring the spaces and bring the opportunities to connect. But I think in local ecosystems, it's easier. It's easier to establish informal connections and to know each other much more agile.
Thank you, Natalia.
Okay.
Yes, giving your ideas, what I feel is a very important point is to establish a good network between startups and corporations. I am sure that corporations need a structural way of work with entrepreneurs, because it's important to have a structure, an order, and having a long-term relationship and work in this area. And in the other hand, of course, the startups need this kind of access to market and business opportunities in order to have more network for them. So I think that it's something that territories, startups accelerators such as Lanzadera, what we need is to enhance and foster this performance and make it easier and make it more faster, because as soon as you get more proof of concept, pilot, or investment or M&A operation, doesn't matter, but you have to make things happen. No, that's a big idea. And for the closing, I want to ask you like a forward-looking question, because we have talking about several territories, but if we are looking for the following 5 years, which European territory will surprise us to be probably a huge startup hub? Open question.
If I can talk about the Canary Islands. As I was mentioning before, we don't really want to be an alternative hub. I agree very much with my colleagues here that we have to be a complement. We want to become a complementary hub. And in 5 years ahead, what we would like is to see how all these startups and scale-ups that join our territory are hiring locally, are creating talent, have been capable of building partnerships, which I agree is really, really important, not only in a local term, but also international partnerships, and still are being able to scale globally. From my point of view, the balance in all these points is the clue for being a successful territory.
I would go with Spain and Portugal. I think that they have, both countries have a strong ecosystem, and they have one thing that put them in advantage when you consider with other European countries, that is the proximity with Latin America also. So Portugal and Spain, they cannot just relate with the whole UK, they can also, of course, and the whole Europe, but they can also relate with the whole US, right? It's a huge market, but they are pretty close with Brazil and all other countries in Latin America. So I think that put those two countries in a good position.
Okay. And I totally agree with you all. I would also say that the Iberian Peninsula is a good candidate to become a hub in renewables, renewable energy, or renewable energies and new energies. because there is the talent, there are the resources. We have the sun, we have the technologies, and we have very good programs and incentives to develop innovation. So we're building on our strengths. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I think that with this conversation, we are sure that the future of Europe innovation will not be concentrated in a few cities or territories. So thank you so much, Natalia, Diego, and it was such a pleasure. And thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.